Can you talk for a bit about navigating the complexity of companies that have lots of different hierarchies and the different meetings you can have with different constituents within those companies when you get a really complex organization?
Yeah, so I think it begins with mapping the organization. So before you get to do anything, and we can talk a little bit about how you work together with a sales development rep, who is the team of people, how you work alongside a sales ops person, who are the team of people who help you think about mapping the organization. But that's the first step, is understanding the path to close. Like, who is the person that I ultimately need to convince down the road to buy this thing, and what is my fastest path to get there? But selling in a complex environment to the enterprise is not unlike running for office. If you think about sort of the campaign that we're all watching on TV, it's really hard to spend all of this time meeting with people in hopes that they will vote for you sometime in the future. That's not dissimilar to what we're doing inside of the enterprise. We know that likely there will be very few people responsible for making the decision to buy your software or buy your product. And so what you're really doing along the way is building influence, building advocacy, right? So building influence, building advocacy is about getting people to stand up for you when the time comes that that person with authority asks for their advice, right? So you've got to build influence along the way. You've got to understand who are the people that I need to influence who may be asked their opinion when ultimately this person is going to make a decision. And the other is building a business case, right? So ROI is really important in selling to the enterprise, really selling to anybody, but selling to the enterprise, because ultimately the decision is made on whether or not the value of what you're selling exceeds the cost, right? And so that's very simply put, but this idea that there is a business case that you need to make to someone around the return on the investment that they can expect to receive as a result of buying your product. And so while you go through that sales cycle, or you're building influence, building advocacy, and building a business case, what you're ultimately taking to building influence and advocacy, what you're ultimately taking to that person who has the authority to buy is the business case for why this makes sense for their company.
I'm going to ask Kiva one last question, and then I want to turn it over to the audience to keep us in check and make sure we're covering the stuff you guys want to hear about. So start thinking about your questions.